Hello, everyone. I am back once again. Like, I haven't been gone for over a few months, right? When was my... I don't care. Anyways, this is what I care about right now. This is what I'm talking about. This is probably the deck of the year, in my opinion. I'm going to just start off right there and give that high praise out of the way before I get into some of the critiques on it, because it's not perfect. I have some critiques as to what's going on here, but as a whole, this is how you do a tarot deck. This is how you do a minor arcana tarot deck. Okay? Okay? Prepare to embark, yes. Well, he told me I wasn't really ready. Okay? The guidebook is a must, but it also has flaws. This is where most of the flaws are. So, it was a whole experience with my anxiety towards AI seeping into everything. I was like examining this with such precise readings that I may have like thought that maybe AI may have played a role in writing some of this, but no. I'm like, no, that's not, no, it's not. Like, reading it, I'm like, okay, no. um, this deck, the Mindscapes Tarot, by the way, by the artist John A. Rice, they sent me a copy for review, and yeah, I'm so happy that I did get this, and it again, like I said, deck of the year. Let me just remind y'all, deck of the year, because if they fix some of the things that are an issue with this, I think we'd have a perfect deck. I think that we've had in such a long time. It really is a breath of fresh air, I guess would be the right word, or of hope that, or that, you know what, things are still being made that are genuine art by people, humans, with effort and care and intention, rather than, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like, and okay, it'll just pass off as what it is, and it's like, yeah. But anyways, that's another tangent on ranting about AI, when really I should be getting into what I think is the best part of this guidebook, and the kind of the bad part of this guidebook. So first of all, love the spreads. Okay, not Celtic Cross. I love it. Not too complex. Not too what's the word? I can't think of the word right now. But the guidebook gets the job done. It explains the imagery perfectly as to like what you should note and what you may overlook, and why he decided to illustrate what's going on here. I should also note that this deck is very like in line with his work. I believe he used to actor, writer, and artist. Yeah. I want to say he did screen work, I believe. I could be wrong. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, but he does a lot of other work outside of this deck, and yeah, I want to find this. Hold on, let me find this in the. Okay, yeah, he has a filmmaking background. That's what I'm talking about, and he points it out here. And yes, these definitely could be like shots of a movie scene, like watching Lord of the Rings, and how New Zealand just looked like Middle Earth, how they just filmed that perfectly, and you get that with this deck. So I don't know how to go about going through this, but we're gonna do a quick flip through, and y'all can skip to that if y'all want to, but I got a yap about this guidebook. So other than being exactly the right amount of information without harping too much on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, which this deck is Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, if you look at it enough, well, not enough, like, it's not hard. No, it really isn't. Just because of the same theme and the vibe that's able, like, the Three of Swords looks like an unhappy card. Like, you'll see what I mean. But the thing that I have an issue with, by the way, back from that tangent there, sorry about that, is this right here. That's not the only thing that I have an issue with. So they kind of do the decans, and the first ones I believe are correct. Yeah, 2 branches with Mars, Sun, Venus, and then it should be, yeah, Saturn. I believe the branches are correct. Jupiter, Mars, yeah, and then Mercury, Sagittarius, Moon, Sagittarius, and Saturn, Sagittarius. Okay, yeah, they have those right, but this is where I was like, okay, Jupiter, Sagittarius with the page. What are we doing there? And then, again, Jupiter, Sagittarius for the Knight of Branches. Right, and then here we have 1, Mars, Aries, that's accurate. The Knight is usually given Jupiter, Sagittarius. And then we have Mars, Leo for the King. But the Sun rules Leo. Why is it Mars, Leo? And that's not a decanic thing unless you do triplicity, but that doesn't make sense because all the other decans are already given to this. So I think that's a typo. Then we go to the tides, and the tides are much a little worse for wear. So far, I think Cancer's correct. And then we do, this is a way with using the modern one as Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, instead of Mars. And then we do Sun, and then Pluto again, though, for the 7, which it would be either Venus or something else in the triplicity. Jupiter, probably, maybe. And we have Neptune, Pisces, that makes sense. But then another Neptune, Pisces for a different card. And another Neptune, Pisces. So all those cards are Neptune, Pisces. No other planet with Pisces, you know. And then we have, yeah, it's quite a lot of Neptune, Pisces. As I believe the correspondences should be varied enough to fit into the diversity of the cards and how they match up well. I would like to continue my Decan studies, but it's been a wild past month for me. But anyways, but it's been fun either way. I feel like I'm onto something that's the right thing to do. So yeah, moving on. I'm pretty sure this deck also helped with that. It's a really comfortable read, but I think other than that thing, that's one of the major issues that I have, and hopefully it could be fixed in another edition, perhaps. I don't know if I'll edge the cards in blue or something in between. I don't know if I will at all, and let it age with grime and dirt and oils from my hands from use. I don't know. I don't know. It's a struggle to clean that, because it's also like I get grossed out by myself, and I'm like, ugh, did I really just do all that? Anyways, let's get into these cards. First of all, here's the back, and again, he does talk about how this is one of his pieces, and it's really cool. It reminds me of the Devas of Creation by Scylla Conway. Really, really cool. It's obviously not reversible, but I think it makes the deck its own. And it stands out as what the deck is. Anyways, moving on. So the Magician, I was like, it's giving Psychopompus, the magician that transports the souls from the world of the living down to the underworld. He guides them there and drops them off at what's his name? Karen's boat, if they can afford it. And then we have here the High Priestess, a little bit infantile for a High Priestess, but I like that it's the emphasis on the concealment and the peeling back the curtain to look into something quite mysterious as a crystal ball, which reflects the full moon, which is what the planet that rules the High Priestess. Also, I love the little glyphs that are on here. It reminds me of something that I saw. It was in, I believe, Tarot and Individuation by Irene Gadd. I believe it was that one. If not, it was a different one, where each one has a little icon for it. Just a little, to represent a simplified symbol glyph that reminds of the card. I think also, oh my gosh, who was it? James R. Eads with his Prismavision's Night Vision. Which one was it that he did the glyphs? The green glyphs? That's what it was. His green glyphs. Tarot and I think Oracle and Lenormand, I believe. I think he did all three. Anyways, gorgeous garden, and he mentions the greenhouse here for very particular, like, protective signs here. And there's a mother here, or it's a statue indicative of that. Then we have the Emperor, this wall, this infrastructure, human intervention in a way. A very watery Emperor, given that it's Aries. Now, this was a card that gave me pause. And I said, hold on, wait a minute. Now, what we're not going to do, because I don't believe James R. Eads is of indigenous Native American background. But who am I to call for that? Because whether or not, it doesn't matter, because I think it's all right, at least in my opinion. But I'm not indigenous, so take that with a grain of salt. Is that how the saying goes? But I was a little worried of cultural appropriation and all that, and I was like, okay, let's see how the guidebook handles it. And the guidebook actually really does a good job of, like, okay, this is what I wanted this card to represent. Nothing explicitly indigenous, like Vision Quest or what else? There's a few others, or El Goliath, like those decks. I was worried that this was going to be that, but yeah, I'll just read out this excerpt to give you an idea as to how the book is. Well, you could have probably paused when I flipped through it to show you the typos, or mistakes, or I don't know what was going on with the correspondences. Anyways, so keywords: spiritual wisdom, fundamental beliefs, religions, traditions, learning, mentors, teachers, guides. Right. Of course, like basic. And then the correspondence: planet or zodiac, Taurus, element, earth. Symbols: the golden key, bird-shaped smoke, hostile landscape, branches, triangular lodge, and fire. Okay, so I was like, okay, it's like it's teetering, when I'm reading it, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Mr. Rice? So, and then it says here, a makeshift pointed lodge rises harmoniously on golden sunlit plains. The builder has taken the barrenness around them and transformed it into comforting shelter. Within ancient healing is at work, passed down through generations from master to student. Smoke curls out the top, and one can just make out the shape of a bird, symbol of love and wisdom, soaring toward the sky and bridging the heavens and the earth. Though this traditional lifeway is threatened, its foundations have held firm for thousands of years. Divine wisdom exists in the master's resilient sense of identity, tradition, community, and earth connection. Now is the time to find your own guides and teachers to open yourself up to their experience and example. So, it teeters on that. It's almost, dare I say, dog whistling? Cultural appropriation of indigenous practices, but to me, I was like, you know what, it's kind of saying more the shaman, and that, if in its purest form, is beyond, it's not just Native Americans, it's like they were the prototype to religions and practice of the mystical arts of prayer, of connecting to the spiritual astral realms, whatever you call it, and meditation stemmed from it as well. It's like all branched off from shamanism, essentially, and that's kind of what I want a little more of from this, I should say. I want it to be a little bit more clear and strict. It kind of meanders around the it's kind of Native American-y, maybe. Is it a TP? Is it like let's kind of work on that a little bit, But either way, beautifully written. I liked how it's written. That's all. I love this lovers of the aspect of like paths and the perspective of like, are we watching a scene of someone about to come through the gate, or are we the person in the scene walking towards here or leaving through the gate, or is this supposed to be us? And that's what I like about this, and the aspect of choice and decisions is clear here, but it's also like the interconnection between people. I like how the chariot is the river where it flows, and it's all going in one direction, right? Kind of. It meanders, though it shifts sometimes, and the boat kind of just goes with it. And he uses the Egyptian ship of that carries the sun or transports the dead through the underworld and with the Nile. Let me see. Which I will say kind of, sort of, in a way, sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the cards, where there's no clear ancient Egyptian forms. Well, no, maybe in the stones. The stones kind of show a little bit of more. You'll see. I don't want to spoil it, but you guys can just skim through or whatever. Anyways. I want to say... Oh, right. It's cone-shaped and symbolized portals between origin and destination, like a wormhole. That type shit, like, is crazy. Yeah, take control, steer the ship. That's right. Yeah, here water represents the collective unconscious, the next part of the stowaway's journey. The distant pyramids represent the decades of work required to manifest a goal. It's so cool, and that kind of ties in with the moon card, where it's like this meandering journey, but here the journey, the path looks much more clear, direct, and quick, and it's like, I just gotta do this type of approach. I like the strength of the slow growing mountain contrasted with the taming of the horses here and the bonding with the horse. It really shows the dynamic between power, force, and strength. and time and dedication and even patience as forms of strength. Here we have the Hermit, which is like kind of tying into that the shamanism vibe again, and it shows these ancient runes and glyphs here. And I also when I did a reading with it, it looked like a spine and the backbone. Sorry, I'm going with the vocal fry, but my throat is dry. Okay. But yeah, and the distant light of the fireplace there with the sunset going on, it's just, and then the stair steps, it just makes sense. It's perfect for that without showing people in it. And then here we have the Wheel of Fortune as a spiderweb. It's not groundbreaking or original. It's been done before, but he does point out, like, there's more complexity to it, as the spider's a hunter but also can fall prey to the cat up here. And it kind of grounds it really well. Along with the blue of the water is so... God, that's so cool how he did that. All on oil pastels. And yeah, it's yeah. Anyways, love this Justice with the blood on it and the yellows and the reds. It does call back to the golds and yellows in the Rider-Waite-Smith Justice card. And this is just with the different judicial government buildings. Yeah, it's crazy. This one, I was like a little bit like, okay, is it going to be environmentally on the nose? You know, I thought maybe it would be a little bit cliche, maybe, but it does. It's not like that. But anyways, so let me read this one out to you. Stranded on an ice floe, a polar bear gazes up at the transcendent dance of the aurora borealis, one of nature's most beautiful and elusive wonders. There is insight to be gained here, and are you stuck in any areas that might be hidden opportunities? Rather than struggle against unfavorable circumstances, what would happen if you surrendered to them instead? This is how we learn to accept the flow of life and view the world from a unique angle. Nature forever beckons us to look up, and a slight shift in perspective can make a world of difference. Let's see. And then here's the thing. It will say to go do something in line with this. And so here's an action for this card. Use your smartphone camera to take a photo safari in your neighborhood. Try capturing images from unique angles or perspectives, focusing on the small details or unusual viewpoints that you might never have noticed before. Review the photos later to see your familiar surroundings in a new light. Okay, so that I like because but you have to kind of read that to get to this point, which might be... But I mean, with a deck like this, you should give time to read this. Like, here's one, Death, of, like, histories and old ways that should be left behind, essentially, with these ruins of these cannons with that are, like, Civil War, like, not graveyards, war fields that were let, and these cannons were just abandoned there, and nature took over. And it's about moving on past that, but you know, there's something to be said about representing that event in history. But I guess in forms of like sympathetic magic, it could be a call to just acknowledge it as the part of history of what made America what it is, because this is very American centric right here, which might isolate some people, but maybe we'll see. I don't know. I'd have to see how other people from other countries would view that card. Anyways, Temperance, we have this volcanic eruption merging with the water of the ocean, and that's Temperance right there. It's not balance. Gosh. The way I get tired when I hear people say balance for temperance. I'm like, what are we doing? Anyways, this is the trippiest fucking card I've ever seen. It looks like Mothman, or like oh my gosh, William Blake's picture of the red dragon, I think is what it is. It looks like, but it's also like these beautiful shimmering glowing lights shining on the wet asphalt of this road, and like the rear red lights of this, I believe it's either a taxi or a car or a bus, symbol like looking like eyes. It looks like horns here and like wings out here, and it's kind of in the buildings too. It's like barely there, but not necessarily, and that's like perfect for the devil. And you can even see it in the glyph too. Like he perfectly, like he did that on purpose. So yeah. Here we have the tower, typical tower. I think it's easy for scenic, what is it called? Yeah, scenic decks, you could say. The Majestic Earth Tarot and the Spacious Tarot are two that I do as well. And I'm going to do a comparison video with those after this one, but I wanted to get through this first. And then we have the star with the shooting star, and then the tree. He talks about every single part of this, and it's so cool. It's all in there. It's all in there. So then we have here the moon. Perfect, makes sense. Like I think the tower and the moon are the easiest to do. Maybe the sun as well, because of how like scenic, landscapey they are. Like the scene is like the main thing there, you know, versus like other cards where it's the main focus of the picture is the figure in the card. And then here we have the sun, the sunflowers, this field of flowers with the sun. That just, I mean, yeah, and the skies in his cards are just amazing. I mean, with Judgment, with here in New Orleans, I believe. And then we have the trumpet player there. I want to say stuff, but I don't want this to be a really long video. And then here we have the world. This, I think I enjoyed everything that he wrote on every single card. I think that's what it is. It's not just that he clearly made sense of what these cards, reading on the cards, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep this card. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep this card too. I like this card because I believe it could also line up. Yeah, it lines up with, if you go in the like 3x9 configuration of the cards of 3 rows of 9 columns of the major arcana, I believe this goes, it would go Emperor, Death, Catacomb. I mean, it makes sense. I think I'll see. I'll post a picture perhaps. But then we have the great work right here, and this is a really cool take on this. We see the little town here in the shadow of this mountain. We see the stars above, and then we see the clouds and the mountains mirroring the town here. This little peak is mirrored here. It's like multiple layers. It's perfect. And then we have the node, I believe, and then Chiron for this one. And yeah, and the rest are pretty Golden Dawn correspondences. Now this is how you read a card. This is how you make. Yes. Okay, first of all, it's the start, it's the beginning, it's the sapling. It makes sense. Yes. He also goes into the fresh green grass and like the clear bright skies. And then we have the 2 of branches with a moon I was like, what? Why is the moon here? I was like, it's... Yeah, but it still makes sense with reflectiveness, maybe. The full moon versus, like, the crescent and the swords, maybe, is what I was thinking. Let's see. Yeah, the evening sky suggests a period of waiting, taking stock, and planning. And then he gives some journal prompts too, which I want to do. I have some ideas that I want to do, but school is taking the most important thing and taking my main focus from everything. School and doing Uber deliveries. But anyways, then we have the 3 of branches. I like this where it's like support clearly depicted as here and expressed with these supports here with the 3 new branches. And we also see like the clouds are coming in as well. And then we have the 4 with the fruits. I believe it's the harvest, or they're pruning the branches, I believe. No, harvesting. Yeah, they're harvesting the fruits here. And you can see it's the same scene over time. Here with the 5, there's been a fire. It's been destroyed. I think they're even doing a controlled burning, actually. Yeah, in the 4 branches. Let me see. Because I know it's like you think it's one thing, but then you read more into it and you're like, oh. Let's see. The tree is full of Christ symbolizes the word of the toil and activity of the summer months is over. Now you celebrate the first. Okay. Achievements. No, I guess not. Huh. Maybe I'm just visualizing fire there. That's my intuition, guys. And again, also giving you journal prompts. And then, yeah, he talks about like there's a fire or it's clearing away and removing some of the trees. And then here we have a celebration and like these lanterns decorating these lush full trees and these like jewel tone colors throughout this card. And then we have the 7, which is like this conflict of rain and the wildfire and how they're fighting each other in a way, you could say. And it's making smoke and steam. And then from the fire, the ash nourishes and regrows the tree stronger and faster, I would say. Yeah. Or saplings in a purple field, but I thought it was ash. I'm pretty sure it's ashes, you know. And then we have the 9, which is like they're kind of forming a shelter, but it's still cold and yet still protected. And then we have the 10. It's just so cool, the overbearing trees and this light that's there, and it's like it looks like too much, but you can get through it. And then what he did with the court cards, I was gooped, I was gagged, I was in shock. I was like, what? I was like, oh, that's what he did. Oh, this is cool. this is how you do it. They were hiding these, I think, or maybe, I don't know, some of them I was like, this was probably my favorite page of branches I've ever seen, of like the adventurousness of youth and childhood. I'm talking like an old man, even though I'm 29, but we have this ladder which, yeah, you can climb down, but it's still like a little kind of scary, but you're up in this treehouse that you want to get out of, or you don't want to get out of, or you're afraid of someone coming up. But anyways, then we have the Knight of Branches, and it's a tent. I at first thought, when I first saw this, I thought it was a guy, like a shirt, and then like the pants, and like opening the belly, which is like a little trippy, but also like, wait, why? But it's a tent, and you're looking outside of the tent. It's very adventurous. There's a sense of adventure between these 2 cards. And here we have the Queen of Branches with like this this room for the shed, this working shed with preserves and plants and plant matter and stuff that she harvested. It's witchy, you know? It's so witchy coded. And then we have the King of Branches, which I actually like the salamander here because the salamander would be in this type of environment versus where you usually see the salamander in like a desert setting, which then makes him a lizard, and lizards would make more sense for fire anyways. Instead of salamanders, I don't know why they said salamanders for fire, but I think it's because of salamanders coming out of the wood when the fire was lit on them and they thought the fire made the, I don't know. Anyways, here, even though it's a very watery card for such a fiery court card, it's the energy that's produced, the power that represents the King of Branches with the light, and he points out the light here as well, and something else, and uses the power of it. But then, yeah, this is it. This right here. This was when I saw this, I said, "Oh, we're for sure getting this. We're for sure getting this. We're for sure getting this card. This deck." The two type makes sense. It makes sense, you know, the passionate red, but the lovely pink, the brilliant heat and intensity of the sun there. And then the dolphins with the joy of seeing them leaping through the water. And then we have the Four of Tides, which is a little bit sad and lonely, but like you have the guiding stars here, kind of in a bowl shape. I can't remember what else he said about them. But yeah. And then we have the Five with these like tumultuous, dark cards. I can kind of see a little beastie here. And there's crashing waves. Kind of looks like an owl right there. Like you can see things in his pattern and in the textures of his art. Kind of like how I can do it with these for some reason, but not as easily as my friend Lady Knight of Avalon. She can really read the tarot as color really clearly. Like you just see things there that just make sense with the card. And I was like, yeah, of course. Well, yes, I see it. I now that you pointed out, like seeing patterns in the clouds. What is that called? That's called something. I can't remember what. But yeah. Here we have the Six of Tides. The ship's clearly like, yeah, but it's like so pale and sun bleached maybe, and so bright, and so like it glows almost. And then we have the Seven with the stars being indicative of like the suit icons, and it's a ship, maybe from the Fool card, journeying through dark, cloudy, murky, hard to see, navigate through waters. This is such an intense card here because we have this bright glow of the moon with these flat grays with the striking white, and then the blue sharp waves. It's so tumultuous for an 8, but it makes sense. And it's the lightning. That's the 8 as well. 8 lightning bolts. Yeah. Right? Am I right? Yeah. Okay. And then we have the 9, which it's sort of like it's like, yeah, there's like, it's a promising card. It's a promising looking card. You can't deny that. And then the 10 with the birds as the suit for the 10. I like that, you know. And the rainbow is the main feature of it. It's one of the things that you can read into that. It's that covenant. It's that blissful moment of like, you made it through the storm, everything's gonna be okay. Now let's look at these court cards. The Page of Tides being this ocean window, I think. What is it called? It's called something, but you carve through it and you see these two, I think these are two children. Oh no, it's a little sandcastle, I think. It looks like two people. It looks like two children in dresses. And I think you see a little fish there too. And it's like they're safe from here, but like it's a safe space here. And but it took time for the water to erode this away for this safe space here. And then we have another adventurous, seafaring, romantic, you know. Again, he's a lot of fun. He likes the adventure, but is he stable? Is he reliable? And then we have the Queen of Tides as the lighthouse that is just perfect, you know? And then the King of Tides with the aqueduct, and what else is it? It's something else. I believe it's an aqueduct. I could be wrong. It also says it's a grown-up version of the Page of Tides sandcastle. Oh, it's a bridge. Okay. An ornate window overlooks a rocky shoreline where a bridge spans the churning waters, connecting one side of the castle to the other. The bridge stands as a symbol of the patience and perseverance necessary to navigate life's challenges. I mean, aqueduct, I kind of see it the same, but if it's a bridge, I'm like, maybe, but I mean, come on, tell me it doesn't give aqueduct. The weathered stone symbolizes emotional strength and maturity. That's what I like about the square block in the Rider-Waite-Smith King of Cups in the water that's stable in those tumultuous waves. And then we have the Ace of Spires. Now he made swords, spires, which kind of threw me off. I'm like, wait, but like mountains are like so airy. What are we doing here? That's not. No, mountains are so earthy and airy. And this is where I'm like, okay, I get it. It's in the sky. It's the most natural form that can reach the highest heights above even trees. It's the highest points are on mountains and peaks. And so naturally you would go there. And so here we have a decision to go left or right, follow the river, or go to the snow, maybe? You know, it's what you want to do. And then we have the crescent moon as well, which is traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery there. And like I said, Three of Spires, it's a broken bridge, crumpled bridge. You can't cross that way anymore. That path is not viable. I wonder how it reads with the King of Tides. That would be a very sad reading. Like, it's this old, well, reliable bridge, but then finally it does break apart. That is upsetting. You know, the Four Spires, and I believe it's supposed to look like, I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I can't remember what exactly. To me it looks like a bird. Like a gray bird, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, but like not in a blaze, but like in smoky ash. So no, he talks about like it's a reference to Chinese landscape paintings. But you get what I mean. It looks like a robed gray figure. Almost like horse manes, you know? Then we have the Five, which is like the conquest of this castle above a mountain, but yet the mountain is ever taller than the heights of man. Ever unreachable. The Six of Spires, which kind of goes into like victory and defeat. There some things like that, you know, you win, you lose, you know? It's sort of like that. And also about perspective. And it's kind of like what I like about this deck, and decks like this, like the Majestic Earth and the Spacious, is that it's about perspectives. Which here with the Six of Spires, we have these bridges for transport and movement, transportation, travel across these different spires. Almost like the Two of Pentacles and the Majestic Earth. You'll see when I do a comparison video. Here we have the Seven. This one he also says it looks like hooded figures. And we have this ray of light or mist, I think. Let me see. It's a sunbeam, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to read out more. You guys should read it yourselves, because I think it helps explain the art, but I think you can, even after reading it, I could still get stuff from it, you know. Here we have the Eight, a very gray, very bleak, and very cold. You can kind of see something in these like cracks there. And then we have the Nine, this eruption, but yeah, these like stars, but they're like cinders. And then we have here though the figure, the design of a lotus in the water, reflected from the mountain peaks. And then we have the Ten of Spires, the ruins, the post-eruption place where it's like erosion and destruction, and it's even like, it almost looks dead, which is kind of the point. And he pulls it off here. Yeah, the aftermath of devastation. Blackened mountains rise ominously against the smoky sky. Polluted air. Light over the horizon, though. That's right here. Which it looks like the black and white right here. Hostile landscape. Jagged mountains. Rock bottom, failure, ruin, defeat, distress, pain, conclusion. Not the brightest of cards, but it shows some hope with the light. And then we have the Page of Spires, which is hot air balloons. And it's just, this is probably the hardest one to wrap my head around a bit, but it talks about exploration, curiosity, insight, determination, communication, and news. Yeah. Yeah, a reminder to approach the situation with fresh eyes and an open mind. Both the balloons and the line of birds simply imply open communication. However, despite the exhilaration of discovery, be careful not to yield to breezes which can blow you off course. You must remain steady and true to your vision. Avoid flights of fancy and becoming overwhelmed with ideas. Of course. And then we have the Knight of Spires. He's like flying down towards this mountain range. Will he be able to break in time, or is he gonna crash? And then here we have the Queen, which this cave kind of almost looks like a mother bird, but then you have the birds back here and the egg right here high up in this mountain peak, probably like an eagle's nest, I believe he says. And then we have the King of Spires with the tent here, the mountain climbers here, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, no, I'm like, but they're about to, and the banner is also a figure there with, I think it's a butterfly. Yeah, the banner is a butterfly, like an homage to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Now this is the coolest like progression throughout a suit. Like they say, like as you read the cards, you should see it as like from ace to 10, it should look like a story being told. And it's never implied so explicitly here, but yet reading the book, the cards depict independently from those scenes at times. But I think you might have to try not to rely on, again, like this is the first one, then it's the second one, you know, and it's like, oh, this is gonna happen next. Like, even though it's not in the spread when you do readings, I don't like that, you know. But it does show like progress over time, and what he does with it is so cool. I mean, I'm gonna show it like this, and it's like, yeah, it's like we have leisure but also work, like the clothesline of laundry with the rest of here, and it's like the balance between the two. I want to say you're supposed to be able to see something in the clouds as well. Maybe it's the blending of it, like I think they overlap, and so that's like indicates the blending of the two ideas. And then we have here oh gosh, what is it? I believe it's called something, but I want to be sure. It's just the tower, he says. Yeah, I thought it was a specific one. It's got to be called, an architect out there would be like, it's called this, you know. And then you see it progress to this, to a great kingdom palace in the background. And then we have conflict, I believe, here, right? No, not conflict. It's the wealthy and the poor. You can see the ruined gate here. And then from that we have community building together, you know, to work together to repair and reconstruct, everybody working together. And then you have the time of rest. It's nighttime and people are still working, but some demolition had to happen. Things are still working, but you're pausing and burning the midnight oil and overlooking the work that still needs to be done. And is it enough? Will it work? And then you have the 8, which is this great wall here, this gate entrance rebuilt. But also it's not done yet, but hey, they're still working on it. And then we have the 9 with the marketplace and these figures walking into the inner part of the palace with this splendorous, beautiful gate. It's gorgeous. It's like, it reminds me of the that azure gate from, what's it called, from Persia, Mesopotamia, in the Middle East. It's blue and it has all those animals on it. And then it goes to this. I was like, whoa. I was like, wait, I didn't expect that. I was like, wait, I should have, but also like, that's so cool. It's this great kingdom. And then history. I was like, I just, you know, like, it was so profound, maybe? Is that the right word? Here we have the architect or the designer, I think, or the artist, because we also have a figure here, the mannequin, and we have the outside, these hills. He points out like what's in this, and then what this is. I can't remember what it is. Like cliff sides, I think is supposed to be. I guess that's what's weird about this deck, is like the softness of the pastel art is just, it works. It works to like make you see things that isn't necessarily in the cards. And this one like is so clear, but when I get it in readings, it still like stumps me a bit. But it is like the hard work. It's still the laborer, the hand, the farm hand. This is where he sleeps or something, I feel. And this is, he goes out and that's his view, essentially. Maybe. But it is about like work. Because it's the mule. the workhorse ever maybe. And then we have the Queen with this gorgeous room, and it's luxury. And then here we have the King of Stones with the finances, time, the tower, the whole city below him, and he's calculating the accounts and the numbers and all that, and he's the financier. And so yeah, that's this cool ass deck. I'm very happy with it. Like, I read with it, it shuffles really well. And here's the little thing as well. If you stuck around for the whole ass hour of this video and are now here, I would like to tell you the story of how I came to have this deck. Because this isn't the exact one that was sent to me for review. This one I actually pre-ordered from Barnes & Noble, and it came in right, they coincided around the same time, and I kind of forgot I pre-ordered it, maybe? No, I think I knew. But I was like, let me see. And so my plan is to give away the second copy that I have. This is the one that they sent me, and it's still in its packaging. Where I'm at right now, there's a cat, and I love him to death, but I don't want cat hair to be on something for someone that, so I'm leaving her sealed, and yeah, you guys can have a copy of this. Honestly, I think the way people talk about, I think Light Seers or some of the other decks, I think that I feel like are overrated in my personal opinion. Y'all should be talking about it like this right here. This is it right here. Yeah, and the packaging and everything else is just perfect. Like the design and everything it's lined up well. It's just the book, the damn book. Why'd you gotta do it to us? Why'd you gotta do that with the correspondences? Because you can do something cool with that, with this deck. But yeah, that's it. So if you've made it this far, if you want to get a copy, the Mindscapes of this deck, I need you to do me a favor and tell me what you think about this card. And I'll enter whoever puts in a comment. You just have to reply what you think about it and what you think, your own opinions on it. Don't use AI. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your interpretation of that card, and I'll put the people who put their interpretation of their cards in a draw. But if not a lot of people watch it or whatever, then, first come, first serve. We'll see. I'll do it in I don't know, a few weeks to a month. We'll see. Anyways, yeah, this has been way too long, but you know what? I haven't had a good sit down yap session with you guys, so yeah. Anyways, I will be back with another video soon, now that I'm kind of getting a better hang of my schedule here, and I'm settling in more. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and again, let's see who gets the Mindscapes Tarot. Alright, bye everyone.